Welcome, students, to Factoring by Bottoms Up. And this is the last notes of Unit 4. Yay! Okay, so bottoms up. Bottoms up is a way to factor quadratics. So it'll only work with quadratics or something that you can maybe factor out a common term and then the result is a quadratic. All right, so let's look at an example. So we have this quadratic, 6x squared plus 20x plus 16. So the first thing we're going to do is factor out any common terms. So you have to think, is there anything that I can divide 6, 20, and 16 by just to simplify this a little bit? And the answer is yes, I can factor out a 2. So you're just going to divide each of these by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 20 divided by 2 is 10. And 16 divided by 2 is 8. So, step 1 finished. Then step 2, multiply A and C. Now, when we say A and C, we mean this is A, just the 3, not the x squared, just the 3. B, just the 10, and then C. So ABC right there. So we want to multiply A and C. Okay, so let's multiply A and C. Okay. Now we have to write down all pairs of factors for this number. So that's all the different ways we can get 24 by multiplying. So I can take 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 4 times 6. And I could do like 6 times 4, 8 times 3, and so on, but you don't have to list them twice. Now, if this were a negative right here, then I would have to list the negative factors as well. But since everything is here is positive, then just worry about the positive factors. Okay, step 3, done. Step 4, choose the pair of numbers whose sum, so a sum, remember, is the answer to an addition problem. So choose the pair of numbers whose sum equals the b term. That means when I add them together, I should get 10. And so we want a sum of 10. So we want the sum to be 10. So now you think to yourself, 1 plus 24. Is 1 plus 24 10? Well, no, of course not. It's 25. So 1 plus 24 is 25. That's not what we want. So then 2 plus 12. So 2 plus 12, that's 14. 14 isn't 10. That's not what we want. So then 3 plus 8 is 11. 11 isn't 10. That's not what we want. And finally 4 plus 6. Oh my god, it's 10. Yay! So 4 and 6. Those are the ones we want. Okay, so we found our 2 preliminary factors. So that's what we just found here. Preliminary factors are 4 and 6. Once you find those 2 numbers, you just take x plus the number and x plus the other number. So those are your preliminary factors right there. Step 6, divide the numbers by the leading coefficient a. So a is 3. So we're going to divide both of those numbers by 3. So I'm just going to do like this. So you don't divide the x in this case, just the number itself. So step 7. If the numbers divide evenly, then this is a factor. Okay, so numbers divide evenly. 4 divided by 3, that's not a whole number, so leave that alone for now. But 6 divided by 3, well, that's 2. That's 2. So I'm just going to write this as x plus 2. So there's my factor. If the numbers do not divide evenly, which is this case, then bottoms up. Pull the divisor up to be the coefficient of the x term. So when we did roots and factors, you may remember doing this when the denominator moves up here. And here it is happening again. So 3x plus 4 There's my other factor. Yay, these are my factors. Woohoo! And then, of course, you could check with box method. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that for this example, just to show you that, yes, it did work. So 3x plus 4, x plus 2, 3x squared, 4x, 6x, and then 8. Ooh, and you know what I forgot? I forgot him. You guys, that 2 we factored out before, you have to write it in front. So stick that 2 in front of there. Don't forget about him. Doesn't want to be left out. All right. So this is where, anyway, going back to the checking, 4x plus 6x, that's where this 10 came from here. So we have 3x squared plus 10x, and then plus 8. And then we would need to multiply that by 2 again. But then we got it. So let's try another one. So example 1. Step 1, factor out any common terms. So is there anything that will divide 5, 17, and 6? Well, no, other than the number 1 itself, nothing. So you don't have to worry about that. Step 2, multiply A and C. So here's A, B, including the negative, C. So A times C. So 5 times 6 is 30. Okay, so got that. Step 3, write down all pairs of factors for this number. Now, check this out, though. I know I have to have a negative 17, which means that some of my factors are going to have to be negative. So just keep that in mind. So the ways I can get 30 are 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, 4 times nothing but 5 times 6, and then 6 times 5, 3, or 10 times 3, and so on. So there's my factors. Now I want to know which one will add up to 17. And in this case, to end up with a 6 here, I know I'm going to have negative numbers. So let's go ahead and make these negative. So negative, 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 negative. So step 4, choose a pair of numbers whose sum equals the B term. So I want to add these all together and see which ones come out to negative 17. So let me do that in a different color. Okay, so negative 1 plus negative 30. Well, that's negative 31. Sad face. Negative 2 plus negative 15. There's negative 17. Woohoo! It works. Cool. So here are my factors that I want to work with. So, step 5, use this pair to write preliminary factors. So I'm just going to take x plus 1 and x plus the other. And in this case, since they're negatives already, you can put x minus 2, you can put plus negative, or you can just do the minus. It's really up to you. Okay, cool. Now I'm not done yet though. Because step 6, divide the numbers by the leading coefficient a. So a is 5, so I'm going to have to divide these by 5. Okay, now if it comes out, divides evenly, then just go ahead and simplify it. So 15 over 5 is 3, so that one works out. But if it does not divide evenly, then bottoms up, pull up that divisor. So pull that up there. And then my factors are 5x minus 2 times x minus 3. And there you go. All right, so here's example 2. So you should have gotten 2 times 2x minus 1 times x plus 3. So when you multiply a and c, you get negative 6. And then you lift your factors, which there aren't too many of them. However, whenever you have to deal with a negative and a positive like that, you want to look at your middle term. And you can tell that when you add them together, when you add these together, you're going to get a positive. So these two down here with the bigger value being negative, or this one with the bigger value being negative, when I add those together, there's no way it's going to come out to a positive number. So I really didn't need to list those at all. I really needed to list just the ones where the larger value was positive. That'll save you some time. But anyway, the first one worked. So negative 1 plus 6 is 5. I wrote my initial factors. And then this one simplified. And then this one I did bottoms up. And then I remembered my 2 this time, my common factor, to put it back. Check over this one. So I multiplied a and then I took my own tip from before and I looked at the middle term. And I noticed it was a negative 1. So that means the larger value needs to be negative. So I didn't even bother listing negative 1 times positive 30 or negative 2 times positive 15 and so on. And it still took me, why did I put a sad face? This should be a happy face. Very happy face. Because that's the 1. It took me 4 tries to get the right one. Here, because I was running out of room. And I divided by the a value. And this one simplified. This one I did bottoms up. So your factors are 3x plus 5 and x minus 2.